We are now on the last video to this Ask Pastor Rick series, where we are dealing with questions particularly related to giving or tithing, right? And this is going to be the how to give. And I want you to make a plan. Now, let's be honest. Most people's plan for giving is later. I'll give later, right? Because I'm in high school, so I'll give later. Or then I'm in college, so I still don't have money. I'll give later. And now I'm out of college, but I don't have a job because I studied philosophy. So I don't have a job, so I'll give later when I get a job. And then I get a job and I realize, oh man, now I've got student loans, right? Or I'm just getting started in my career and I don't make much. I'll give more when I make more later, right? But then now I'm saving for an engagement ring or a wedding or a honeymoon or a house. And so I'll give later. And then you have kids. And kids eat money, right? They just eat money, like food, clothes, dance classes. If you do private education, whatever, like for 18 years, they are a money hole. The good news is once they turn 18, you get to pay for college. So now I'll give later because I got to pay for my kids' college. And then you realize that you're in debt, so you're trying to climb out of debt, so you'll give later. Then you're saving for retirement and you're spending on your grandkids, so you'll give later. Now you're retired and you're living on a fixed income, so you'll give later, and then you're dead. And all along the way, you were making more and more and more money, always saying you would give later. Look, when do you think you're going to give? I went to a restaurant one time. I love this. I saw on the wall, it said free beer tomorrow. Free beer tomorrow. Of course, you come tomorrow and it says tomorrow. It's always tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. There's only today, right? So your only opportunity is to start giving today. You won't give tomorrow. You only give today. Later is a bad plan, okay? Another bad plan is to give randomly or spontaneously, to kind of make it up as you go. The reason why is usually you end up giving from guilt or from emotion. It's rarely well thought through. It's not intentional. It's not strategic. It's like impulse buying. It's the impulse buying of giving, right? So you go to the store and you're not intentionally buying the staples, the bread and milk and eggs you need, but you get up to the counter and there's that candy bar, and you give on emotion. Like don't do that. Have a plan. Another bad plan is to give occasionally or sporadically. You see, most of us think we're generous people, we're generous givers because that one time, right? I remember that one time. You remember that one time I went to that banquet and they did that emotional appeal and I got out my checkbook and I wrote that check and I'm generous. We're not talking about that one exceptional time where you gave. The question is, what is the pattern? What is your heart? Is it a response to a need that came to you, or is it a response to what Jesus already did for you? You see the difference? Like if needs were never presented to you, would you go hunt them down because you have a giving heart? You see, don't be occasional. Don't be sporadic. I want you to be intentional, strategic, thoughtful in your giving, not random, emotional, and occasional and sporadic. Okay, make a plan and stick to it. That plan should be, first you got to determine what percentage you're going to give. Okay? Are you going to give 10%? Are you going to give more? Are you going to give less? What percentage are you going to give? Secondly, determine where you're going to give it. Will it be just to your church? Will it be the tithes and offering thing? Like determine, like at least give the majority to your local church, but you determine where are you going to give it. And thirdly, I want you to give to God first. You're going to follow through by doing the first fruits thing. So when the paycheck comes in, the first check you go right is to God. Or we set ours up on automatic giving because our income is static. And so it just automatically comes out of our account and goes to the church. How are you going to give? Give to God first. And then last, I want you to, based on all that, I want you to make a decision with God. If you're married, you make it together with your spouse with God. But you make a decision with God and then you follow through as an aspect of faith and worship. Okay? Now, you might need to ease into it. Look, if you're not giving anything to your church, you like give $5 every once in a while, whatever, you're probably not going to jump up to tithing in 1 year. If you can, awesome. I'll let you do it. I'm nice that way. But you probably won't. For most folks, if you do that, it'll be an emotional decision. I told you, don't be emotional. Be emotional. You'll surge out of the great. You'll have a great run for about a month. You'll find you sprinted in a marathon and you'll tank. Okay? You might need to walk it up. Can you give 6% this year? No? What about 4%? 4%? Start there. And then each year, walk it up 2% more until you get to 10%. Don't be misled, though. It'll still be a sacrifice. It's still going to hurt some. Yeah, that's 10% that you could have spent on yourself. But it's God's money. You're giving it back to him, right? So don't rob God. Don't shut yourself out of the joy of giving. It'll be a sacrifice, but it'll be a joy. So go there, right? Now, I'm saying ease into it. At the same time, let me say this. If you feel led by God that you need to start tithing now, then you start tithing now. For you, then, it would be an issue of obedience. See, James 4:17 is where it says that the one who knows the right thing to do but doesn't do it, to him it's sin. It's not sin to everyone else, but if God clearly laid something on your heart, so if you feel like God is calling you to start tithing now, get her done, all right? Get it done, all right? Don't hold back. Excuse me. Now, one question. What about hard finances? What if I can't pay my bills that month? Well, look, fine, miss a month. Grace. Okay, we're in the dispensation of grace here, crying out loud. It's okay. But then adjust your standard of living so that you don't have to adjust your standard of giving the next month, okay? You'll either give and then live, or you'll live and then give. Which one's going to come first? Give to God first fruits, right? So fine, you miss a month, whatever, but then adjust so that you don't miss 2 in a row and it doesn't become a habit, right? Along with that, the question comes up, well, what if I'm in debt? Look, I don't want anyone going into bankruptcy, for crying out loud, because of their giving to our church. Don't do that. But don't fail to give just because of purchasing you did in the past. The problem is you bought too much crap earlier and now you can't give today. All right, don't do that. That just incentivizes debt. That just says, hey, you all ought to run up the debt because now you don't have to give later because pastor said, no, let's not do that, okay? Don't do that. If you're in a hard spot, at least hold on to these things. First, trust God. I want you to operate in faith. Secondly, never give nothing. Okay, never give nothing. Always give something. Even if it's 2 pennies, like that widow that Jesus pointed out. Even if it's just 2 pennies, always give something. Never stop exercising that muscle. And then thirdly, make a plan. We have financial counselors in our church that will work with you. Make a plan so that you're getting back on track to health in all areas of your finances. But your plan should include, how am I going to get back to giving 10%? With all that in mind, let me tell you what our family does. You might think that, that's easy for you to say, Pastor, because you don't have to give. That's not true. We want to give. We do give. So my wife works very part-time. The majority of our income comes from my salary. So what we do is we tithe off my gross salary, the gross amount, not the net amount, not that I make a gross salary. Anyway, we tithe off the gross of my salary to our church. Boom. And it goes out automatically every month without fail. Then what we do with her comparatively much smaller salary is we tithe off the gross of that. And I'll tell you what we creatively do. We put that into a savings account. And then it's from that. We never touch it. That's God's money, not ours. And we use that then. That's how we support various missionaries or projects or ministries or whatever. And it's kind of like our giving mad money. We have a blast with it. That's what we do. I don't know what God will lead you to do. But I'll tell you this. One of the greatest moments of worship every year is when I do my taxes. That's a little bit weird, right? Not really happy about the taxes. That's not it. But when we do it, that's the time in the year that as we're filing, we have to figure up all our giving. And we look at this bottom line, and I do them in the basement. I call Shannon down, I'm like, Shannon, get down there. And we look at it together, and we get tears in our eyes every time. We can't believe that God has given us the privilege of investing in his kingdom. And we look at that and we go, oh my goodness, we gave that much. It's phenomenal. And we love it. It's a time of great worship where our hearts are invested in the kingdom. Please, please, please Don't miss out on those moments. You want to be, as a faithful follower of Jesus, you want to be invested in the kingdom. You need to form a plan, and there's some ideas on how to do it. I hope this series has been a blessing to you. I'm glad to be in the kingdom with you, to serve alongside you, and to give alongside you.